Hi, and welcome to the Changing Perspectives podcast, the show where we discuss a variety of topics including grief, parenting, health and wellness, and relationships. Join us and explore a number of changing perspectives. We're your hosts, Jenny and Josh Brennan. Well, hi there, Jacob.
Hi.
What's going on?
Nothing.
You're not Jenny. You look like her, but you're not Jenny. Welcome, everybody, to episode 53, a pint-sized perspective. Haven't given you guys a pint-size in a while, but we decided to throw one at you this week. Jenny is not here. She is busy, but Jacob is here. Jacob, associate producer, co-host extraordinaire, the second time he's ever co-hosted with me, and he's here. How are you today?
Good.
Excellent. It's good to see you. It's good to see you and your dimples here, ready to go. I said dimples. It kind of sounded like I said nipples, but I said dimples. For those of you who don't know, Jacob is notorious for having pretty textbook dimples on his face when he smiles, and he has a lot of fans of his dimples. So he was smiling when I looked at him. I fumbled my words a little bit. Kind of sounded like I said nipples. But I did not. I said dimples. This one's off to a good start. So again, welcome everybody. A pint-sized perspective coming your way. Pop culture TV review focused episode coming your way. Happy New Year. This is going to release on New Year's Eve 2019. I hope everybody's planning on having a fun, safe, happy New Year to ring in the new year with friends and family. We do. We have some fun plans in the works for both New Year's and New Year's Day. And then we all go back to work and school on Thursday, right? Are you ready for that?
Sure.
Sure. All right. So what are we talking about today? First, I wanted to remind everybody about our t-shirt photo contest. Tag us on Facebook and Instagram with a picture of you listening to the show and be entered into a drawing to win a Changing Perspective t-shirt. And don't forget, we do have a new feature on the show, reading your iTunes reviews over the year. Submit a review, rate us, review us, and we will read your review over the year. This is a shortened episode today, so there'll be no ads and no iTunes reviews. We're just going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about The Mandalorian. How exciting is that?
Are we doing the whole season review?
Yeah, we might as well just drop our thoughts. It'll be about a half an hour long episode, pint-sized perspective, and we'll just go through our thoughts. Now, listen, to preface everybody, we've talked a lot before.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert all over the place. Alert, alert, spoiler alert coming your way. If you have not watched The Mandalorian yet on Disney+, pause this episode, go binge it. It's 8 40-minute episodes. It won't take you that long. Come back, press play, and join us in the discussion. We are big Marvel fans. We're big Disney fans. We talked about that many times on the show before. And right along with that, we are big Star Wars fans. Now, I've promised Star Wars episodes before. In fact, if you listen to episode 52, where Jacob was a guest with me and Jenny, we talked about our favorite Christmas movies. Jacob tried to make that a Star Wars episode, and we shut the door right in his face. We said, no, not yet. And we're not quite ready for a Rise of Skywalker review episode or Death. We want to do a Death in Star Wars universe as well, which I think will be a great episode and tie in our main theme of grief and loss, just like we did with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Disney movie universe as well. We will get there, but today is just a quick little review about our, dare I say, new favorite show.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, I could say that because it's true. The Mandalorian. Let's give some background. Okay, The Mandalorian is part of the Star Wars universe. It's in the current canon with the Disney World canon, so to speak, of the Star Wars universe. It takes place timeline-wise right after Return of the Jedi. Episode 6, which was first released in 1983. And we are right after the fall of the Empire. Okay, Darth Vader just died. The Emperor is dead. And we are seeing the New Republic, right? The resurgence of the rebellion. What happens after the Empire falls, and we have a new republic in the galaxy taking over. And we are following the journey of our main character, who is a bounty hunter, the Mandalorian.
Like Jindarin or something.
Yeah, but that's part of the spoilers, I guess. That's his name, and I've actually got the Wikipedia that is, page pulled up for that show, and the IMDb page as well. So this is the description. The Mandalorian is an American space western web television series that premiered on Disney Plus on November 12, 2019. Disney Plus is great if you haven't ventured down the Disney Plus rabbit hole quite yet. It's a streaming series just like Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime. It's Disney's version, and it's got some great offerings. And this is some of that original programming. Now, The Mandalorian was released weekly, so it wasn't like a binge-worthy, not binge-worthy, but a bingeable show. Now it is. Now you can just go and watch them all. But when it first was released, they did weekly, which was kind of cool. Did you like that? Weekly, like a traditional network television show, or would you rather have it just been dropped altogether?
Weekly,
you like that? I kind of like that too. It's like it gives you something to look forward to. Now, the one criticism I will have is that I wish the episodes were a little bit longer. Now, all of them were pretty much under an hour. The finale was about an hour. Yeah, a little under, but all of them were well under an hour. 39 to 42 minutes approximately. But I found myself looking, wanting more. Can we talk about the creative team?
Oh my God.
Legends in Hollywood right now. First of all, the creator, the man, Jon Favreau.
He had a cameo.
He did.
He was a Mandalorian.
He was
like the one with like the big gun.
The big gun, right. And that was in episode 2, I think.
And his possibly dad was what wielded the Darksaber.
Yes. So that goes back to Star Wars, the Clone Wars. I did a little bit of research on that. So his character, Jon Favreau's character in this series, shared the same last name, I think.
And Jon Favreau also played the other guy.
Yes. Of the character he played in Clone Wars. He voiced in Clone Wars, which is the animated series. It takes place between episode 2 and 3 of the movies. And his character was a Mandalorian, but also one of the first Jedi who wielded a black saber. And of course, the big holy crap moment that had Jacob and I, our jaws were on the floor, and Jenny didn't know why we were losing our minds, is that the final moment, the cliffhanger moment, is when we see what's the character's name?
I think it's Ralph Madon.
I've got it pulled up here.
Something like that.
Wield the black saber, and that was so awesome. I'll pull it up right here. Moff Gideon.
What did I say, Ralph Madon?
I don't know what you said. Moff Gideon, played by Giancarlo Esposito. Can we talk about the cast? What an amazing cast!
I know.
Some of the what are the highlights of the cast for you?
Taika
Waititi, director of the finale episode, an amazing voice actor, an amazing director who directed Thor Ragnarok,
and the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yep, and the Thor sequel, the latest Thor is the fourth Thor.
Yeah.
Thor 4. Taika Waititi, definitely a highlight for me for the cast. Carl Weathers as Grief Karga, who of course played the original Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. Werner Herzog, the amazing writer, director, actor. He's got that great line in the trailer bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Oh, yeah.
My Werner Herzog is not that good. Nick Nolte plays Quill. Love Nick Nolte.
Oh, yeah.
I
He was
have
in,
spoken.
what was he in? Angels, was it? Is he in Angels Fallen? Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
Nick Nolte's had an amazing career, but you most recently saw him in that. That's a good movie, action adventure movie. Who stars in that? I'm gonna Gerard Butler. Is that who that is? I'm gonna have to look that up. Anyway, yeah, he was in that. He's good. Nick Nolte has carved out. Yeah, Gerard Butler carved out for himself a nice career as like a gruff older guy, and he's definitely he did a great job as the voice of Quill. Who else? We had Gina Carano, of course, playing Cara Dune. She plays a former rebel shock trooper turned mercenary from Alderaan. How amazing is all this stuff in The Mandalorian and connecting us to what we love about Star Wars? The whole episode where they go back to Mos Eisley and Tatooine, and the Mandalorian is in the cantina, sitting at the same table as Han and Greedo. It's mind blowing how amazing and how fun this series has been in connection to the stuff about Star Wars we love so much. Cara being from Alderaan, same as Princess Leia. So very cool. Ming-Na Wen played an assassin in an episode. Of course, she is from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She plays Agent May. Bill Burr. Lots of comedians in this.
The Stormtroopers.
The Stormtroopers, Jason Sudeikis. That was great. The infamous Stormtroopers, who now are the most hated characters in the in the Star Wars universe because they punched.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. That's not actually the name of the character. The character's name is the child, but of course, if you live under a rock, you have no idea what we're talking about. But all over social media, exploding is Baby Yoda. How lovable and sweet and amazing is that character? We'll come back to Baby Yoda. I want to come back to him. A couple of other highlights. We got Bill Burr, lots of comedians. Bill Burr, Amy Sedaris, and of course, I don't even think you realize this. What is the guy's name? Why I'm drawing a blank.
Who did he play?
In the very first episode, it was Horatio Sands. You know Horatio Sands from SNL, right?
Well, I bet if you show me a picture, I know.
He played the Mithril, the blue alien at the very beginning, who the Mandalorian put in the carbonite, right at the very first episode.
He was blue.
He was blue. I think he was blue or green. I think he was blue.
I thought it was him.
I thought he was pretty good, and I didn't realize it was him until I listened to a podcast after, and I was like, "Oh, wow, that was him." So he played pretty good. All right, enough about the cast. Amazing cast, and of course, Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones plays the Mandalorian, whose name is Din Djarin. His actual name. We don't actually learn his name until I think the last episode.
Yeah.
But basically, he's a bounty hunter who looks a heck of a lot like Boba Fett. Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Fan favorites who wear the That's the armor they wear is Mandalorian armor. Now, I'm just, I've been a Star Wars fan since I can remember. The first movie came out a couple years before I was born, and then it was just such a huge part of my childhood. Been a fan since I was tiny. I actually am one of those few people that really like the prequels. I like it all. I love all Star Wars. I'm just starting to really get into the deep dive stuff. So, and I wasn't really ever a fan of the Clone Wars. Jackson liked it when he was younger. I think you were a little bit too young for the Clone Wars animated series. I actually started watching Rebels recently because it's on Disney Plus and it's there. And I prefer the live action, but I love the story behind Star Wars and the legend and how expansive the universe is. So anyway, all that to say, I'm just learning now, scratching the surface about the history of Mandalore and the Mandalorians and the Fets and how they're not really Mandalorians, that there's some speculation that they maybe just stole the armor. And the Mandalorians themselves are a race, but also they're a creed, they're a religion. They're basically a race of warriors or a religion of warriors. They have a specific code they live by. They're not supposed to take their helmet off in front of anybody else, any other living thing. It's a whole big thing. And the more we get into the series, the more you learn, the viewer learns about the Mandalorians as a creed, as a race. They're actually from a planet or a system called Mandalore. But anyway, the Mandalorian, the main character, is a Mandalorian. We find out that he's a foundling. He was rescued at a young age by the Mandalorians, but he's not actually a Mandalore. He's not from Mandalorian. So it's very, very cool, the whole element, the whole story behind that. And of course, finally, the child. Baby, what everybody's calling Baby Yoda. It's the only, in the whole Star Wars universe, the only third example of the species that Yoda is. And we don't know. Your phone's making our speakers tingle. There you go. We don't know what kind of species Yoda is. It says if you go in the Wikipedia or any sort of Googling, Lucas says that his species is unknown. We had in the prequels trilogy, we have somebody on the Jedi Council who looks a lot like Yoda. Her name is Yaddle. She was the second.
Yoda with a wig.
Never had any lines or anything. She's just there as part of the Jedi. Supposed to be. And you look her up on the Wikipedia. Just talks about how she's a Jedi. But then this was the big reveal at the end of episode 1. Was a child version of this species, who is the cutest thing ever. Fair enough to say, right? So great. It's mostly practical effects. So it's a puppet. There's definitely some CGI going on at different points, but mostly it's puppeteering, which is such a callback to the original trilogy, with Yoda and voiced by Frank Oz and everything. So great. But basically, and the other thing about the species is they age very slowly. So this baby,
Really 50 years old.
is 50 years old. Basically a toddler. Kind of, he can get around on his own. Can't really talk, but he can get around on his own, feed himself and everything. So I put him like a 2-year-old. That's what I think of when I look at him. But he's supposed to be 50 in the show itself. So that's a quick background. Do you have anything to add? Did I miss anything? Sort of describing the show so far. What do you like most about The Mandalorian, buddy?
I don't know. Everything.
You don't know everything. Okay. Well, what are some of the highlights for you? For me, seeing things like what happened after Return of the Jedi. Like you see the New Republic and the whole episode where they go with Bill Burr's group of sort of mercenaries to rescue somebody out of prison or break somebody out of prison.
Like
and you
the scene
see
where the Mandalorian gets stuck in the jail cell and then he breaks out.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, he's definitely pretty awesome. I mean, he is the Star Wars equivalent of like Jack Bauer, Chuck Norris. He's pretty great. Great character. Great protagonist. Very skilled warrior. Very cool weapons.
Yeah.
To quote the amazing Jack Nicholson from the original Batman movie, where does he get such wonderful toys, right? But he's been described, heard on different podcasts where a lot of people say that Mandalorian reminds them of the space Star Wars version of Batman, if you think about it.
Yeah, I see that.
Right? Especially in the episode where he, in that prison, where he's walking down the hallway and the lights were flashing and he keeps getting closer and closer and the person
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
see him.
cool.
That's like Batman. That's like Bruce Wayne. Classic Bruce Wayne. But he's got all kinds of cool weapons and stuff. I think, again, what I like most about it is the connection to what we already know. The fact that Kara is from Alderaan, the fact we get to go to Tatooine, the fact that there's Jawas prominently figured, presented in the show. I think that was the second or third episode where he has to battle Jawas because they steal part of his ship, and they put up a
Mudhorn?
what's that?
You mean he battled the Mudhorn?
Yeah, well, yeah. Pull that mic up a little bit, buddy. But he had to fight. Put this right in front of your mouth. There you go. You know what to do. You're the associate producer. Don't mess with me.
It is.
But he has to battle Jawas to get parts of his ship back, which ultimately ends up not really working. But they put up quite a fight against the Mandalorian, which is pretty great. We get to see Jawas. We get to see inside the cockpit of the Sandcrawler.
That's cool.
Which was awesome, which we first saw in 1977 with A New Hope, episode 4. And then we're back to Tatooine, and we get to see Sand People. And we get to see the Mandalorian interact with and talk to Sand People, the Tusken
cool.
Raiders. How cool is that?
They did like the sign language thing.
Yeah, that was awesome. So we see these things that we know well, but we don't know. There's things we don't know and we learn, like what's important to the Jawas. What's important to them is having like this gigantic egg this furry egg that is like a delicacy and they eat it. It's not, money's not important to them or more parts, being scavengers. It's this egg. And then we learn that the Sand People are really what we are looking at. We're led to believe they are the indigenous people to Tatooine, right? And the Mandalorian knows how to talk to them and negotiate with them in a way that prevents violence and just killing them. So that's pretty cool. What else comes to mind?
With what?
Anything. How about the IG unit?
He was cool.
We first saw the IG unit in episode
I like when he's
5.
When he's finds no, we saw him in episode 1.
Phantom Menace?
Oh no, I thought you were talking about
I tricked you. So that's why the episodes of The Mandalorian are called chapters. Yeah. Right. So I was referring to the IG unit that's it's a bounty hunter. It's a droid bounty hunter.
He was in Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, of course. IG-11
I like
is...
the scene where he's like saves Yoda and then he's riding the thing back to
Yes, that's the episode 8, the finale.
Yeah,
that whole element is really cool. So the IG unit has been the droid bounty hunter. When we have Darth Vader looking to hire bounty hunter to take down the Millennium Falcon and find the rebels, right? One of the many bounty hunters he has there in the Star Destroyer, the ship is the IG unit, yeah. And I didn't even realize that till I watched it again. I was recently watching episode 5 again. By the way, that's my favorite Star Wars movie. Clearly. Empire is the best one, hands down. We'll get more to come on another episode about that. But we've got these droid bounty hunters, and he's included there, along with Boba Fett and of course a few others, which we've seen in other different parts of the Star Wars universe. But the IG unit comes up in, I think, episode or chapter 2 of The Mandalorian, and it's an IG unit that...
He's in chapter 1.
Is he in chapter 1?
Yeah, when Mandalorian goes to
it's
get
chapter
the
1.
child.
You're right.
He's there too and trying to get him.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to kill the child, but Mandalorian...
He saves him.
He tries to kill the IG unit. It's on my mouth.
There you go. But you have to talk... Look down. See the volume controller.
Yeah.
That has to be in front of you.
Really?
Really.
What if I don't do that?
It's not as good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
see, you're
You're
sound
right.
farther away.
Oh.
See the difference? Don't worry, Jenny just learned this recently. Anyway, so the IG unit is so deadly and really good. And just the effects of him walking in that town and killing all those people, that was really cool to see an IG unit in action in a live-action Star Wars movie. Star Wars anything. And we see Mandalorian take him out because the IG unit couldn't be reasoned with because he's a droid. He's programmed. He has one objective, and that's it. Then fast forward to the end, and we see Quill has reprogrammed him to be a protector, and the Mandalorian doesn't trust him.
Nursing droid.
But he learns to, nursing droid. He learns to trust him, and he's becomes definitely one of the MVPs of the entire first season. Is the IG-11 unit. So I thought that was really, really cool. What else? Anything else you want to add to this pint-sized perspective about the Mandalorian? I've done a lot of talking, Jacob. You haven't done
Darksaber.
The Darksaber. We talked about that already. It's so awesome.
You can never talk too much about it.
Why are you whispering?
I don't know. It's a cool effect.
The Darksaber was amazing. We've only ever seen that in the Clone Wars, again, the animated series.
Maul had it, and like a rogue Mandalorian guy had it.
In the Clone Wars.
That's it, right?
Right.
I don't know. So, the Mandalorian girl in Rebels ends up having it. Sorry about the spoiler. But she ends up having the Darksaber, and then she gives it to someone else. I forget her name.
Right.
And that's the last place we see it.
Yeah.
Besides the Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon.
Yes.
Yeah. Live action Darksaber. So cool. What else? I mean, there's so much great little Easter egg moments. I'm just seeing Carbonite again in live action at the beginning, and we find out that Carbonite, how the Mandalorian froze his prisoner in Carbonite. He's got this row of frozen prisoners in Carbonite. And if you remember to episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, they weren't sure if that was going to be a good way to transport a prisoner. They were testing it out on Han Solo. And clearly, fast forward 10 years or 12 years, whatever it is from that. Was that?
Didn't really work.
It did work.
But Han's alive.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't supposed to kill him. It's just supposed to transport him.
So it did work?
It did work, right?
Okay.
And don't forget, they were testing it on Han to see if it will work for Luke, because they were trying to trap Luke, and Darth Vader was going to bring Luke to the Emperor as his prize. But anyway, so fast forward however long it is, 10, 15 years, it's easy to look up. I just don't remember what the timeline is. That the bounty hunters are using this technology to capture their prisoners. So I thought that was really cool as well. We hadn't seen Carbonite again in live action since Empire Strikes Back. Again, so many great Easter eggs, so many great moments. We see a Twi'lek in live action, who is a main character in that episode.
We see 2 Twi'leks.
2 Twi'leks? We do?
Yeah, that's the prisoner that the
Oh, that's right. Her brother. That's right. We haven't seen many male Twi'leks except for Jabba's right-hand man there.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the really long appendages. I forget what they're called.
You should get a haircut.
Yeah. I don't think that's not hair. They can't cut that.
Cut it. Hair, but...
The armorer, the female Mandalorian, she's like a shaman kind of religious leader. She was really cool.
I like when she bashed the stormtrooper helmets.
Yeah, that was awesome. A lot of great action sequences in The Mandalorian. The armorer is played by actress Emily Swallow. She does a great job in that role. We get to see those cool, weird animals that Quill rides, and then the man. What are those called again? I forget.
Know, but the dragon thing took 2 of them.
Oh my god! And there's so many good moments. We see an ATST.
Oh yeah, I like that episode.
That was a great episode.
There's
There's so much to talk about. I'm regretting doing a pint-sized perspective on this, but anyway, listen. We love The Mandalorian. I know we were kind of all over the place in this little pint-sized perspective, but we highly recommend The Mandalorian. You don't have to have, watched other Star Wars things to really enjoy it. But of course, if you're a Star Wars fan, even if you have seen the episodes and you're sort of a mild Star Wars fan, I think you'll enjoy it even more. You'll appreciate what they're doing even more. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, a Star Wars legend, who was the creative force behind both Clone Wars and Rebels. He's featured in this. He's got a cameo, but he's part of the creative team. He's an X-Wing fighter in the Prisoner episode. Oh. Yeah. And of course, Baby Yoda, the child, such an iconic, quickly becoming such an iconic little figure.
Who's the puppeteer?
It says that there's multiple puppeteers. And then, yeah, there's so much fun stuff about this new series. Quickly becoming my favorite television series, at least currently, anyway. I don't know if anything can surpass Breaking Bad for me, but this will be close. Or The Office, yeah. Different. That's a different style. But yeah. Anything else to add about The Mandalorian?
No.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Jacob. Thanks for joining me today, buddy, and filling in for your mom. All right, everybody. That is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening to this pint-sized perspective. For today's show notes links, just go to Google and type in The Mandalorian. Check out Disney Plus. You can do a little IMDb and Wikipedia searching of The Mandalorian and all that great Star Wars lore. Okay, please, everybody, follow us on Facebook at Changing Perspectives Podcast and on Instagram at Changing Perspectives Blog. You can send us an email to changingpodcasts@gmail.com. You can also visit our website by going to changingperspectivesblog.com. And while you're there, don't forget to visit the shop to check out all that great Changing Perspectives merchandise. Go ahead and subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. And we will see you next time. Say bye, Jacob.
Bye, Jacob.
All right. Bye, everybody.
The Changing Perspectives podcast is produced, recorded, and edited by Dizzy Bird Studios. Please visit Dizzy Bird Studios on Facebook, facebook.com/DizzyBirdStudios.